I think what pulls it all together is that no one person did any of that.
So he's sitting around on a June Thursday thinking about himself and his glory days. And to your point, Smug, I'm starting to warm up to Michelle Obama's POV. I mean, what does he do?
Shocking admission about the state of his marriage to Michelle. Go a little bit low, Rob, if you could. So everybody's wondering, like, you weren't there, Jimmy Carter funeral, you weren't there, Trump, Michelle I'm talking about, and then you start a podcast with your brother. Barack Obama makes shocking 177 Michelle Obama. I was in deep deficit with my wife. He told Tepper, conversation Thursday. So I've been trying to dig myself out of that hole by doing occasionally fun things.
This long-buried secret finally blew wide open. Everything changed when Megyn Kelly and Patrick Bet-David joined forces like a political demolition duo, lighting a rhetorical flamethrower to Barack Obama's meticulously crafted legacy. From secretive multi-million-dollar mansions to eyebrow-raising interviews and shady behind-the-scenes dealings, absolutely nothing was off the table. The duo pulled no punches. What followed was part expose, part roast, and all-out chaos in the liberal group chat. Let's just say Obama never saw this tag team takedown coming. You'll laugh, you'll gasp, and you'll definitely rethink every Netflix deal, book contract, and legacy speech you've ever seen.
How about the women who actually were the victim of repression and violence in Israel? No words for them. Former President Obama, nothing to say about the children being murdered in Israel. So far, I guess he couldn't find time to actually use his little thumbs and tweet something.
Obama's second term, he did none. Obama's first term, I think he did one. And Bush's first and second term, he did none on day one. This guy's come out the gates. One moment he's talking to World Economic Forum. Another second you're looking at him, he's talking to California, chewing out, Bass and Mayor Bass and talking to the folks there. Next minute he's in Vegas talking about no tax on tips. Next minute you're seeing him talking to military folks. Next minute you're seeing him on the media.
Just when we thought we'd seen everything there is to see about Obama, things went sideways faster than him trying to bowl a strike with a 2-pound kiddie ball on a slick lane. Because behind that polished press conference smile, Ivy League swagger, and carefully curated charisma lies a man who somehow transformed hope and change into a beautifully filtered Instagram aesthetic. Yes, the same man who gave us drones, detentions, and designer suits is now being casually but thoroughly dismantled, brick by brick, by people with podcasts, YouTube channels, archived receipts, and zero patience for political theater. It's unraveling in real time, and it's wild.
At Jimmy Carter's funeral certainly raised some eyebrows, but yesterday's announcement that she won't be attending Trump's inauguration confirms something is definitely going on between her and Barack. She said whispers about cracks in their relationship have been circulating in D.C. for over a year now, but this feels like the first public proof of a marriage on the rocks. The question now isn't if, but when. If I had to guess, they will wait until after the inauguration to announce it. Timing, is everything. And yet the story doesn't end there. For months, I've heard Jennifer Aniston's name tied to...
Patrick Bet-David and Megyn Kelly didn't just pull punches. They showed up with intellectual brass knuckles, a spotlight, and a stack of uncomfortable facts. Let's be real. The Obama glow-up was less about transformational leadership and more about becoming the most charismatic letdown in modern political history. He didn't drain the swamp. He drained your expectations, repackaged them with sleek speeches, and replaced real reform with Netflix deals, podcast appearances, and elite galas filled with polished insiders. The man who once promised transparency now lives behind velvet ropes and brand partnerships. And the curtain is finally being pulled back.
Of course, I wouldn't look at Obama one way or another. I would simply say, I get it. It's tough. Good, God bless. And don't forget, they were young presidents. They weren't old presidents. Yes. So it's a difference when you're a young president. When you're a young president getting out and you're a star power, like Netflix showing everywhere he goes and da-da-da-da-da. It's a different kind of a life.
So, this is the guy who promised to bring transparency to government, then ran an administration so secretive it made the CIA look like a leaky group chat with emojis. His idea of accountability? letting Wall Street executives waltz away from a financial meltdown with nothing more than a sternly worded speech and a premium cocktail at the next $10,000 a plate fundraiser. While the public hoped for justice and reform, he gave them carefully worded press releases, cozy backroom deals, and a masterclass in political illusion.
More fuel on the fire that there's a potential, maybe a divorce or some sort of rockiness going on in the Obamas' relationship. They both posted these mirrored, very choreographed Valentine's Day messages on X, but he was just seen at an LA, the basketball team, the Clippers, thank you, game without her. And then on Tuesday, he was spotted eating out at a fancy dinner in Sherman Oaks with both daughters, Malia and Sasha, but again, no Michelle.
Let's not even get started on the Nobel Peace Prize. You know you're living in a satire when a guy wins one before completing a single shift on the job. That's like naming someone Employee of the Month just for showing up to orientation in a tailored suit with a charming smile. Obama was literally rewarded for existing, which, let's be honest, might be the most Obama thing ever. Meanwhile, his visionary foreign policy looked more like a blindfolded toddler swinging at a piñata during an earthquake. Syria? Oops. Libya? Double oops. Iraq? That was a full-blown oops casserole topped with drone strikes, PR statements, and a vague sense of moral superiority. And who could forget the infamous red line in the sand? It went from a bold declaration to a gentle suggestion, then faded into the desert like a mirage, followed by a backpedal so graceful it deserved a gold medal in Olympic gymnastics. Obama's foreign policy was a masterclass in how to speak softly, hand someone else the stick, and then pivot to blaming Bush when it all imploded. Domestically, he came in with a supermajority and still treated Congress like a magic 8-ball. Can we pass meaningful reform? Shakes. Reply hazy. Try again later. It's almost like he believed in bipartisanship so blindly he forgot he was elected to lead, not to host a never-ending round of political charades. Hope and change? More like shrug and stall, just with better lighting and a Spotify playlist.
Tom, what is the process of Nobel Prize? If he's able to do that, who nominates? Because most of the Nobel winners are on the left.
Nobel Prizes, you can go look this up, are given through an arcane nomination process, and they go into a back room and they decide who they're going to give it to. And the Nobel Peace Prize is basically a political football. You look around the world at people that have really caused peace, and you have Obama made a couple speeches as soon as he was inaugurated in '09. Oh my goodness, we give it to for fostering an environment of peace. He didn't do anything.
He was the undisputed king of long-winded speeches, beautifully crafted, deeply stirring, and ultimately confusing. He'd drop lofty phrases like the arc of history and the audacity of hope, and by the end, you weren't sure if you'd just been inspired, hypnotized, or gently gaslit. You'd wake up 30 minutes later wondering why your taxes increased and why your insurance now includes a deductible for existential dread and optional coverage for emotional whiplash. Patrick Bet David didn't just pull back the curtain, he yanked the entire political stage off its hinges and exposed the wiring underneath. Because here's the truth, Obama wasn't the savior. He was the guy who talked like Gandhi, inspired like Oprah, and governed like a slightly more charming, self-aware Nixon. All hope, no hustle. All charisma, no concrete. The man could have sold sand in the desert and convinced you it was an eco-friendly, solar-powered cooling innovation. And then there was Megyn Kelly, armed with facts, surgical precision, and the sass of a real housewife during a reunion meltdown. She dissected the Obama aura piece by piece, finally asking the question no one wanted to. Why did the most transformative president in modern history leave behind a country that looks eerily like the one he inherited, just with better phone cameras, more identity politics, and a nation divided by hashtags? Obama gave us "Yes, we can," then followed it up with, "Actually, Congress said no, so never mind." His legacy is like a political IKEA manual. Confusing diagrams, missing tools, vague instructions, and somehow still overpriced. And that whole post-racial America dream? He floated it like a helium balloon at a unity rally, then let go without warning as the country drifted into digital race wars and culture clashes on Facebook. He didn't fix the race conversation. He rebranded it in Helvetica font with a royalty-free backing track and called it Progress.
How much is enough money, according to the Obamas? 70 million? Because public reports estimate that is their net worth, parlayed on the back of Barack Obama's 14 years of holding political office. He did not spend 50 years in government service. He did a stint in the Illinois State Senate. He did a couple years in the U.S. Senate before he ran for office and won. All right, then he did 2 terms as president. And off of that, he's made himself over $100 million. Almost $100 million, probably over, to be honest. We don't know all of the earnings. He reportedly owned 4 luxury properties. A home in Martha's Vineyard, estimated to be worth some $20 million bucks. In addition to properties in Washington, D.C., reportedly bought for $8.1 million, a beachfront home in Hawaii, reportedly bought for $8.7 million, and a home bought in Chicago for $1.65 million. Is that more than you need, Mr. Obama?
And economically? Let's just say, Wall Street slept more soundly under Obama than they did under most Fortune 500 CEOs. He bailed them out faster than a drunk friend at a Vegas holding sill, with zero hesitation and a wink. Meanwhile, Main Street got a motivational, hang in there poster, a commemorative coin, and maybe a job application for a gig that didn't offer benefits. His economic recovery plan should have come with a footnote. If you're wealthy, congrats. If you're not, good luck. And maybe download a budgeting app. He was the first president who made people feel like things were changing, even as everything quietly stayed the same, just better branded. Obama ran the presidency like a high-production TED Talk. Soaring rhetoric, polished visuals, bold metaphors, and follow-through so light you'd need a microscope to detect it. And when things got dicey, he'd retreat behind that signature, cool-as-ice demeanor, like a guy who accidentally sets the kitchen on fire and casually asks, "Anybody want marshmallows?" There was no urgency, just vibes. His specialty? Saying absolutely nothing in the most profound-sounding way imaginable. A 10-minute speech that left you inspired, then confused, then Googling what he actually meant. He was a philosopher-poet trapped in a bureaucrat suit, championing progress at the podium while quietly negotiating with lobbyists in back rooms guarded by donor lists. Remember the healthcare rollout? It felt like trying to stream Netflix on dial-up while being repeatedly kicked out and asked for your password. Millions gained coverage, sure, but millions more were dropped, rerouted, glitched, and re-enrolled into oblivion. It was less a healthcare solution and more of a government-designed escape room, except you didn't escape. You just paid more, waited longer, and got a bill with 3 logos and no explanation.